I covered the map of our recent trip in another video. In this one, I'll share some of the memorable moments we had, both the good and the bad. I'll try to keep everything high level, and I'll post more detailed videos about each one of these things separately. Here are the memorable moments, in no particular order. 1. Shoshone Falls, Idaho. Shoshone Falls is also known as the Niagara of the West. At 212 feet high, they are actually 45 feet higher than Niagara Falls. 2. Bear Lake State Park, Idaho. Bear Lake has the nickname the Caribbean of the Rockies. It's named that because of the brilliant turquoise waters. This photo is not edited to bring out the turquoise. It really looks like that. 3. Pedestrian bridge over rail yards, Laramie, Wyoming. Downtown Laramie was a fun surprise. We visited the pedestrian bridge that goes over the rail yard. It was a rush to stand directly over a fast-moving train that went through. 4. Idaho and Wyoming, pronouncing things. Dubois, Ponderay, Grovant, Paposha, Togati, Coeur d'Alene. I actually had more problems remembering how to spell Coeur d'Alene than remembering how to say it. 5. Warhawk Air Museum, Nampa, Idaho, and Tower Grill. The highlight of our trip was Larry, one of the volunteers. He was extremely knowledgeable and liked to describe in great detail the strengths and weaknesses of the engineering of the different planes. Paul was fascinated by all the nitty-gritty details. Larry, who'd been a crew chief on a Huey helicopter in Vietnam, shares experience with learning how to fly the helicopter. Now Paul excitedly tells people, "He explained the process so well, I feel like I could fly one myself." During the dissertation on how to operate a helicopter, I have to admit I became more focused on the fact that we hadn't had lunch. I asked the young woman at the front desk in the museum to recommend a restaurant, and she recommended the Tower Grill, which is just a couple blocks away. The Tower Grill is at the top of a building that used to be the control tower for the Nampa Municipal Airport. Everything from the decor to the menu is airplane themed, and the communications from the airport radio are played on speakers in the restaurant. The food was great, and it was such a unique and fun experience, we highly recommend it. 6. Trailer tire blowout, north of Rawlins, Wyoming. Before the trip, we had a discussion that went like this. Our trailer tires are dated early 2021. Should we replace them now, or can we get away with waiting until spring? We decided to wait. One of the tires was not happy with that decision, so after Paul changed a blown one on the side of the highway, we replaced all 4. 7. Privacy-conscious ground squirrels, Dubois, Wyoming. In the campsite outside of Dubois, where we stayed for a month, there was an entire network of ground squirrel tunnels right outside our dining room window. It became quite the source of entertainment, and we'd watch their antics when we were sitting at the table. I thought it'd be fun to set up the GoPro right outside the entrance of the tunnel with the most traffic. Paul was worried that the camera would end up getting dragged into the tunnel, but what happened to the camera was more interesting than that. At first, I got exactly the results I was expecting, a close-up shot of a ground squirrel emerging from the tunnel. And then, everything went haywire. Only 4 minutes into an hour of coverage, the squirrels turned the camera around so that it didn't face the hole. After that, they checked out the camera angle a couple of times, and that was it. The next 54 minutes of video featured a plant waving in the wind. Apparently, ground squirrels will defend their right to privacy. 8. Dworshak Dam near Orofino, Idaho. Dworshak Dam near Orofino, Idaho is the third tallest dam in the United States. Sorry, we couldn't find a camera angle where you can see the entire dam. The dam creates the Dworshak Reservoir. Last year we saw the second tallest dam, Hoover Dam, and this year we just happened upon the third tallest. Maybe next year we'll have to go to California so we can see the tallest one, the Oroville Dam. 9. Yellowstone in the snow. One day we made a spur-of-the-moment decision to go to Yellowstone, and we didn't realize it was snowing in the higher elevations. It was just magical to see it in the snow. Magical, but cold. After we walked around the West Thumb Geyser Basin, we were thrilled to get back in the car and turn on the heater. The temperature was in the 30s, so we even had our picnic in the car. 10. Photography techniques. We had a lot of fun experimenting with time-lapse photography and astrophotography. 11. Badgers, Dubois, Wyoming. We happened to see some badgers next to a country road and stopped to watch them. We were really excited. We've never seen badgers in the wild before. 12. National Museum of Military Vehicles, Dubois, Wyoming. This museum is the pinnacle of what a museum should be. The displays are immaculate, the signs and infographics are very informative, and the stories that are told will draw you in and have a lasting impact, especially if you go on a guided tour. Here's a clip of the founder of the museum explaining its purpose.
I'm running a bait and switch program here. The museums lure people in, but the reason for this museum is history of American freedom and honoring the service and sacrifice of veterans and their families.
We really think this museum is a must-see experience and everyone should go there. It was really hard to narrow this down to just 12, so you can probably expect to see a volume 2 coming out soon. Thanks for watching!
Paul's got the tools, yeah, he's the jack of trades. Wendy's grabbing snapshots in the golden rays. The engine's purring like a rock and roll song. They're hitting